Good morning, everyone. The topic that I received was the arrival of the Africans to the coast, obtaining slaves among the coast. So, areas from which slaves were taken. Slaves were taken mainly from West Africa. Slaves were taken from the forest states, Oyo, Benin, Bohom, and Ashanti. They came from the section of West Africa stretching from the Senegal River in the north of Congo River in the south. The various areas along the West African coast have been given different names. Example, Grain Coast, Ivory Coast, Gold Coast, and Slave Coast. How slaves were captured and their journey to the coast. Now, the slaves were captured in tribal wars or raids on villages. Boys and men between the ages of 16 and 40 were sought especially. Old persons, women, and children were left behind or killed in the raids. Those captured were marched to the coast. The slaves were assembled in couples and were often chained together. Speed was essential as a captain was waiting at the coast for the slaves. Those who did not keep up were left behind or punished. Now, moving on to methods used to capture the slaves. There are three popular methods used back in the day to capture slaves. So one was surprise attack. The slave raiders often used the elements of surprise. Africans were ambushed and kidnapped as they worked or traveled away from the community. Under such conditions, they would have been outnumbered with little chance of escaping or calling for help. As people ran from their burning homes, many were grabbed and taken away. The second method they used was the use of trickery. Sometimes slave hunters entice people to go with them, promising to take them to exciting new places and to see many wonderful things. Some Africans went willingly, only to be captured and forced to make a trip away from their homes. The other is tribal differences. The, amin- the animosity which often existed between the tribes were exploited by the slave traders, whereas Africans would have been reluctant to sell a member of their own tribe. They usually would have been more willing to sell a member of the enemy's tribe. Enemies captured during warfare were therefore sold to the Europeans. What happened to slaves as they arrived to the coast? When the arrived to the coast, slave quarters called barracoons were ready to receive them. The initial examination of the slaves took place outside of barracoons, which were as dark dungeons. Usually, the ship surgeon examines them on the beach. They were stripped naked and placed into two groups, the sound ones and the rejects. The rejected ones had ailments. The sound ones were branded on the chest with a red hot iron, signifying the country that they will be shipped to. The slave sales then came. After, the slaves were placed on board ships, waiting to be transported to the New World. And the source that I got my information from. Thank